side are you on?
Get off the fence, son.
Which side are you on?
Get off the bench, son.
Which side are you
Who will stand to defend us?
Which side are you on, my Lord?
I'm kind of a country boy for real, so St. Louis is like half and half. Like, we born and raised in a metropolis that's like, but it's like the land has retook the city. So you grow up seeing wildlife and coyotes and possums and raccoons and, you know, so.
You just saying that on the way here, it's like the animal out here at Yellow Springs is on a suicide mission. All types of squirrels and deers jumping out, trying to end their life, bro.
Yeah, they was on crash out missions all day, you heard.
This is, let me ask you this, we are in Yellow Springs, as Nico says, where they do ghetto things, even though it's not ghetto about Yellow Springs, but we out here. So shout out to the whole village of Yellow Springs. My name is Talib Kweli.
I'm your boy Tef Poe, the Vanglorious, you know what I'm saying? Javadi Shooter. The Javadi Shooter is one of my new names.
Okay, I like that one.
Javadi Shooter is one of my new names. You know what I'm saying?
St. Louis, so you ever watch that show, The Ozarks?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How far is that in Missouri from St. Louis?
Not very far, maybe minimally like an hour out, you know what I'm saying?
I didn't know nothing about The Ozarks until I seen that TV show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Jason Bateman is a great actor. And the young girl, I don't know her name, but she's like a breakout star from that show. But I had heard the term, The Ozarks, but I know nothing about the history of it. Yeah. How accurate would you say is that show to that area?
I mean, it's some exaggeration involved, definitely. During the summer, a lot of the more wealthy people, some more successful musicians, they go out there and kick it on like they boats and stuff at the lake. There's a lot of parties and stuff.
Yeah, they showed that in the show, the juxtaposition of the local people versus the out-of-town tourists who come to the lake for the summer. And the problems that causes. How people come there and hide out.
For sure. Yeah. So when I was a shorty, we used to go to field trips once a year in elementary school to the Trail of Tears, which is also out there, which starts out there, goes through Oklahoma, all of that, where they push the native people off their land. And so they taught us about those rocks and how they were like, the archaeological history of the rocks and how they were considered mountains to the people in the local area, but they wasn't really mountains for real. And one thing we did encounter was like super racist, like poor white people out there being, saying crazy shit to us, being like, y'all obviously from the city. Back then we had no concept of the city or, the outskirts of the city, but that's when we started learning like, oh, out here it's different. Y'all got KKK, y'all got meth, y'all got all type of shit that we ain't got in the city, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's a different culture than where I'm actually from, but I understand it.
Yeah. We were talking about RZA's film. When you talked about the crazy ass white people out there. And shout out to RZA, he got a new movie, a very Quentin Tarantino-esque movie, One Spoon of Chocolate. And we went to the screening. Yeah. We got to see RZA talk about it. It's great to see the RZA level up as a filmmaker. He shadowed Tarantino when he was making Kill Bill and he learned how to make films. That was very inspirational and made me want to shadow somebody. But we were talking about the white characters and how they felt like really over the top. And someone asked RZA about that. And he said that he wanted to make sure that the villains seemed impenetrable. The villains seemed unstoppable. The villains seemed like they had so much power that when the hero overcame the villains, you would get more of a visceral response. And I feel like he achieved that with the movie. But while I was watching it, I was like, man, ain't no white boy's gonna be able to do this type of shit ever in real life, for real.
Yeah. Actually, you were the first person to point it out, because I was like, why am I uncomfortable with some of these scenes in this movie? And I think it's exactly that, like the way that, the boldness of some of those white characters, right? And then the type of retaliation that they got back, I was like, yo, that would have been the end of the movie right there, because you ain't finna come up in here and do this and not expect this to happen, you know what I'm saying? So, not to give it away, y'all, everybody go check it out. For me, the movie had a very Shane-type feeling.
Break that down.
Where at the end, you don't know if he lives, you don't know if he died.
Oh, word.
You know, what happened actually? Where does it go from here? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can make up your own conclusion about a lot of things towards the end of the movie.
We actually saw an example of that in real life, in real time recently. So not to give it away, because again, we want you to support the RZA film, but there's a situation where some local white dudes who have problems with the black people in town because they racist, they come into a diner in broad daylight in the middle of the day and they do some like horror movie level shit. Like they do some horrendous, horrible, violently horrible things to black people. And, you know, our reaction was like, ain't no way niggas
I
going
mean,
for
really,
that.
for me, the whole movie, right?
Right.
Because once y'all get the tripping, I'm on the phone, and it's 50 niggas. What the old Solo say, I call 50 niggas, they call 50 more niggas, and then they call 50 more niggas.
So you gonna get
Dr.
my mom.
Green. Sorry,
That's
Dr.
what
Green.
my mom
Green.
is upset now.
Dr. Green,
You
I'm
said
so
50
sorry.
niggas,
I'm
50
so
more
sorry.
niggas.
It's a rap punchline where old Solo, he's a battle rapper, and he says, I go get more niggas. And more,
My mom don't like when we say the N-word
niggas.
on this show. She gives me notes. You know, the notes is her N-word. But we seen it in real life with this guy, Chud The Builder. I know his name is Chud The Builder, but I like Chud The Builder. That's better. You know what I'm saying? Chud The Builder, he is out here. He's like the comment section come to life.
Yeah.
The comment
I'm
section.
actually glad we're talking about this.
Yeah, man, the comment section in my life is they hide. And they call me the N-word, and they call me a monkey, and they be like, don't chimp out, like that don't chimp out shit. I've seen that in my comments so often since the internet started.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they sending me monkey memes, and then I send the memes with the old white lady lips to be like, y'all lips really look like this. So you know what I'm saying? Like, but those people never show themselves, and they never show up in person. And here comes this dude, Chud The Builder, who shows up, calls black people racial slurs, shows them the weapon, dares them to do something about it. Someone took him up on that dare.
Yeah.
Someone tested that theory.
Yeah.
And his theory
A true American hero.
wasn't correct. It turns out that his
The man
theory...
that tested that theory is a true American hero. And we need to celebrate that brother. In the black delegation, we need to put that man on a piece of currency. His children should have college paid for. Generations upon generations of his family should be good because he took one for the people. Brother, whoever you is out there, General, I salute you.
That's right. He got shot. I should Google him and find out his name. He got shot, but the dude, Chud The Builder, also shot himself.
Yes.
Which is like
That's why
instant
this is all
karma,
marvelous.
bro.
This is marvelous, man.
Instant karma.
This is
like
marvelous.
it's great when that fuck around and find out thing happens instantaneously, bro.
This is marvelous, man. But you know what? He thought that he was going to get away with doing this because he had initially, from what I saw, the first video that I saw, he went up on some children. And I said, yo, that's crazy that you think walking up on kids with a gun and calling them the N-word is like really doing
Joshua Fox. Shout out to Joshua Fox.
That's the brother?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought that was wild that he...
A military veteran.
That's why he took it. He used to going to war. Soldier, I'm telling you, bruh. But yeah, he was messing with kids at first.
Yeah. He ran, That's instant karma. I tell those trolls who come on my mentions when they get upset at me for combating the racism, you should consider yourself blessed and you should feel very lucky that the only consequence you are likely to face for being a racist troll is I'm gonna call you out your name or I'm gonna call you a racist. And that's your only consequence. You should count your lucky fucking stars because you could be outside running to Joshua Fox. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's real. Damn. Or, you know, I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes when I get messed with by those people, I go find them.
I've had situations where I've actually had to find a troll. I had a situation where I had to find this dude, what was his name? Man, I don't want to get his name wrong on the podcast, but there was a dude in Texas, a lawyer, who was threatening me and a lot of people. He was a Proud Boy. He actually became the leader of the Proud Boys for a second before Enrique Tarreri or whatever his name is took over. But this guy, you know, I had to find him and track him down, and he lost his business behind that. But you had a situation.
Oh yeah, I
recently.
had a recent situation with some idiot.
Break that down.
We were had this organized thing going on where we were exposing where ICE was deporting from, or if that's a word, launching from. And we just kind of exposed the spots that they were kind of hiding out. You know what I'm saying? We put it on the internet. And
you be doing that. You be exposing shit and putting shit on the internet. That's kind of like your repertoire at this point. We'll talk more about that later.
My thing is,
please continue.
Don't do it in St. Louis and think I ain't gonna find out. I'm the watchman, nigga. So basically, a white dude jumps in my inbox calling me all types of niggas and saying he gonna send the people to my house and he gonna get me deported. Because I guess he thought
He gonna get you deported.
I was an illegal. You know what I'm saying? And even if I wasn't an illegal, it doesn't matter because he's a fucking racist. So I took that fade on gladly and went to his page and found out he was an Adam Sandler fan and found out where...
Sounds like Chino Chase. Chino, why was you trolling Tef, bro?
Found out a few other things I won't say on camera, but yeah, let's just say thank God for my Korean friends. You know what I'm saying? Everybody need good Asian friends in their life. They can find things for you very efficiently. You know?
We'll leave it at that.
That's all I can say. So I called them, though. I ended up calling them. I was like,
I've done that one too.
So you think it's cool to be on the internet calling me a nigga and shit. And you think you're gonna be able to move around St. Louis and Kiki and go to hip hop shows and comedy shows and I ain't gonna bump into you. Oh, buddy, when I bump into you.
What was his response when you called him?
You know, he was just white boying out.
Yeah.
White boying out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he ain't really got no response, you know what I'm saying? They think this shit is cute until it's not.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's cute until it's not.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
And speaking of St. Louis and the Ozarks, another thing I was thinking about with that TV show, The Ozarks, and the whole racism situation in that area, in that TV show, they talk about how the lakes in that area are buried black towns.
Yeah.
They had black towns that they would flood the towns for the real estate come up.
Yes.
Can you tell us more about that?
So I got to do a little bit more research on that area particularly, but I do know that there were black towns on the riverbeds, on the outskirts of the Missouri riverbeds. That's where they were hiding out and building like these kind of like makeshift cities and townships. And similar to other places where folks have to retreat to the swamps, they just got pushed to the extents of the river that you probably wouldn't want to live on. Like, for example, when folks are driving from St. Louis to a city called St. Charles, they cross this bridge that goes across the river. Right under that river used to be where black settlements were, you know what I mean? And people wouldn't even imagine that. But yeah, I mean, honestly, St. Louis is a black discovery. It was discovered by Haitians, French Haitians. There were black folks there that didn't even see slavery. Pre-English people coming in.
Sundown towns. Yeah, it counts as a sundown town. This place...
Yeah. The Ozarks is definitely some sundown shit. For sure.
Yeah. This place we're at right now, Yellow Springs, is like, is this where Dave Chappelle lives? He says it's like a Bernie Sanders island in a Trump sea.
Wow.
You know, this definitely is a place where you're driving through Ohio and you're going to see Trump signs, MAGA signs, American flag, Trump signs. And then when you get to Yellow Springs, all the signs is Black Lives Matter, science is real. They have like pride flags and trans lives matter, which is pretty ironic considering this is the town that Dave Chappelle lives in.
I know.
And they are very supportive of trans rights in this town.
You know, what's shocking about that is, you're right, I've been seeing mad LGBTQ stuff around this town.
Yeah.
And I would think with his message, they would try to run him out of town, or at least his assumed message, I should say.
It's, the assumed message, because in reality, the way that this man, and I'm heavily biased because he's a good friend of mine, but the way that this man lives his life is like a progressive fever dream. Like, he drives around listening to NPR. When you hear him making jokes about Terry Gross, it's because he's listening to Terry Gross in the car. His politics are informed, from my perspective, from that. He lives in the most progressive town in Ohio. The way in which he, not to tell too much of his business, but the way in which he votes and handles his day-to-day family life and family politic, you would think he's like, you know, the same as any type of like, you know, progressive person in a coastal city, not someone who's in like a Midwest hotbed for Trumpism. But because his jokes push the envelope, and not just towards gay people, but towards white people, towards women, towards black people, towards everybody. Like, because his jokes push the envelope, people assume that the jokes are completely representative of his actual stance, and they're derivative of his stance. But the jokes are a performance. They don't actually completely represent the stance. And when you come into this town and you see how the people of this town live, and you see how this community supports each other, and not everybody in this town gets along, and not everybody in this town agrees on every issue, but you can see it's a real community. Even if we don't disagree, well, I'm gonna see you at the local shop. So, it's like they have to move in a community. It's a real community, and I really respect this town because of that.
Yeah, it's dope. It's a different type of Midwest than where I'm from. You know what I'm saying? So it's always a culture shock from you coming to Ohio. It's just a little bit different than Missouri. But I learned a lot being around all y'all, man. I'm like a sponge.
It's vice versa, bro. I learned a lot being around you.
Wow.
A lot.
It's crazy. But, for me, I feel like, I blinked and walked into the underground rapper's dream, you know what I'm saying? Where a lot of my mentors are people who push the boundaries on what can be said, what can be done, and how it can be done. So I got great examples of Black men who have walked up to the United States of America, looked it in the face and said, I'm gonna stand up and challenge you. I'm gonna challenge you with the music. I'm gonna challenge you with the comedy. I might challenge you in sports. I might challenge you in business. So as I get older, I learned that there's just more than one way to skin a cat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because you've met Dave around me before, but this is the first trip in which we really get to kick it and he gets to see who you are in like a more private, intimate situation.
Yeah.
And you talked about people coming to St. Louis and doing things in the shadows.
Yeah.
And how they can't get away with it.
Yeah.
Now, we got our sister Jasmin Crockett, who represents the great state of Texas. Shout out to Chino Chase. But the talk around Israel and Palestine and the talk around AIPAC has shifted a lot in her lifetime, in our lifetime. Artists like us used to get persecuted for saying free Palestine. Now, if you don't say it, in a lot of these circles, people's like, something's wrong with you. So recently she came into, you've been making diss records about Wesley Bell and other politicians. We've been talking about it. And one of the reasons that, and you talked about your apprehension of making diss songs about Wesley Bell because he's a Black man. And how you felt a little bit conflicted about it, but you felt like you still had to like hold it down for the people. And now you have the situation where there's a video of Jasmin Crockett where she's supporting Wesley Bell. She's supporting doing like a secret fundraiser, or it seems to be secret. And, people that you were down with in St. Louis, y'all exposed that. And it went viral. And first of all, like break down how y'all even got involved in that.
So here's the thing. I know a lot of information privately that people don't know publicly. And so I talked to Cori Bush, who is currently our former congresswoman running against Wesley Bell, who is a Black man who has kind of been a career politician in the area. And to me, he's a bit of a charlatan. Like a lot of men put on a suit and a tie and make sure their hair is good and make sure they got the smile together and they can kind of use the twinkle in their eye to tell you anything.
We got to go from the crack house to the White House.
So,
like my dude from Black Dynamite.
So, in short, I have considered myself a defender of not just Cori, but pretty much any Black woman that was in office locally whose politics I did find some semblance in. So I have supported her in the past. I have supported Tashara Jones. I supported Kim Gardner. But that don't mean that I always have agreed with them on everything that they've done or represented.
So to be clear, you're not a single issue voter.
Not at all.
Right.
And I'm not even a single issue so-called activist. Like I'm not just sitting back looking at these people and going, oh, they said this, let me strike. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
and you don't have to agree with everything someone says to support them is what I'm getting from you.
Facts.
It's about, net positive.
I'm weighing the positives and the negatives and
right.
landing where I think if the pendulum should righteously land.
Right.
And so for me, a lot of times when people don't even understand, before I do something like this, I pray, I meditate, I put myself in a position where I know there's gonna be some kickback from doing certain things, but at the same time, it's like, that's the fade that I take on for the sake of my community. So with this situation, it's not that I didn't have no respect for Jasmin Crockett. It wasn't even about striking on Jasmin Crockett for me. And I want to also be clear is that I wasn't motivated by her taking AIPAC money because we don't really necessarily even know if she actually takes AIPAC money. We just know she has some soft landing AIPAC analysis and opinions and adjacent.
Okay.
With Wesley Bell, we know he is directly taking AIPAC money and a lot of it. You know what I'm saying? To the point where we should consider what he's doing to be local election meddling. And that's the part that I want to expose at large, is that she just went through a situation that we can consider election meddling, right?
That's right.
And
I'm in Texas.
there's multiple ways to get different things done. And I think that as a person who is an intellectual voter that does lean left, meaning I probably would vote Democratic 99% of the time, or independent, I'm insulted by what the party is doing to true Black progressives.
Speak on that. That's a very important point. I feel the same way.
There's these coup d'etats that are happening all over the country. What was the brother's name? Jamal Bryant?
Yeah.
Right? He didn't get the support he should have got from the party, right? And a lot of, like meathead dudes try to make it seem like I'm out here caping for a particular style of Black female candidate, which in reality, that's not even it for me. It's just I have a hardcore political line that I do represent. And for me, I enjoy being able to walk around my city because people know that I ain't drunk the Kool-Aid, I ain't took the needle in the arm, I ain't in the back of the room telling you one thing and then coming out here representing another. Yeah. So my peace and my my peace and my sanity are motivated by my political positions. Yeah. So the way we get involved in all of this with the situation is several folks from the community sent us videos of what appeared to be an endorsement of Wesley Bell. She said it wasn't an endorsement. She even said my videos was fake, you know what I'm saying? Or the videos was fake because they weren't just my videos. And that's the part where it was like, we're not gonna play a game of schematics with these people, man. Like, at the end of the day, we being nice about it. Y'all warmongers and approvers, y'all are approving of things that I don't approve of. So if we really wanna have a conversation, let's have it. But what you're not gonna do is just say my content was fake or the information that we've given the people in the community.
Right. Let's be honest about the information, have an honest strategy and tactics conversation about the best way to move forward, because there's a lot of issues we might agree with each other about, but there's also a lot of issues where you're gonna get some pushback from the community on.
And I think right now what's happening is folks are trying to assuage their sins through the abominations of Trump.
Okay.
So
like it's the easiest thing in the world to say Trump is bad, Trump is evil. Okay, but what else you got?
Yeah. So if I can assuage my sins through the abomination of Trump, if I can get y'all back to more of a liberal Obama centrist way of things, where you cool with going to work at Wendy's again? You cool, you 15, fight for 15, you getting your 15, my nigga? You know what I'm saying? You cool with regular life? You got a car, you great, you know what I mean? Like, you can pay your rent, gas is in your tank, mama got food, health. Oh, Obamacare, it's gone, but we got something like that again, right? People want to get back to that so badly that they'll cozy up to these devils a little bit harder than what we've seen in the past. And they also get to point at the jackass that's fucking everything up and go, well, I'm the only person on the hill fighting this bastard. You know what I mean?
Jackass is a great symbolic metaphor, because what's the symbol for the Democratic Party?
Voila.
The jackass.
So it's not that I'm in the business of tearing down Black folks or even in the business of exposing shit, because I'm not. But what I am I'm in the business of protecting where I lay my head. Right? And I consider where I fly back to every time we link to be my home. So y'all heard it in my raps. I'm the St. Louis Cuban Missile Defense System. They don't need nobody else long as I'm there. Because if I see some bullshit, if I interact with some bullshit, I'm gonna do my part to circumvent it. Now, that don't mean that I'm always right. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm not standing up here saying with like super righteous intent that I'm always right. But I am saying that it's just not a place where you can come ball in the mud and think you're gonna get away with the dumb shit. You know what I'm saying?
I'm glad we're having this conversation on the podcast because we had a very intense private conversation with all of us when you came, first pulled up at Yellow Springs. Y'all had driven for 5 hours from St. Louis and we got into like an intense conversation about all of this because we all care so much about Black people and we all care so much about the movement for Black lives and our liberation because our liberation, we are the moral compass for this country. Our liberation is going to be everybody's liberation.
The reason I'm so strongly against political Zionism also is in my city, and this is why I took so gross offense to her standing next to a pro-AIPAC candidate. In my city, Black men lead the death toll on both sides of gun violence.
Yeah.
By abnormal proportions compared to other large American cities. So that means civilian gun violence, we the #1 number by a very crazy amount of bodies. And then police state-sanctioned violence, we the #1 body.
Yeah.
So there's no place of refuge for us, right? And then when you take the fact that the police in Missouri have developed relationships directly with Israel, where they're sending officers to Israel to train.
I learned about that when I got to Ferguson.
And they're learning how to surveil Black people with Israeli tactics and Israeli technology.
Yeah.
I know a young man, well, I don't know him, but I stood in the streets for a young man named Von Derek Myers. He was killed by a rogue off-duty police officer who worked for the same private security firm that patrols the West Bank in Palestine. He was killed in St. Louis, Black boy, Southside St. Louis. The off-duty cop that killed him worked for the same damn security force that's patrolling in goddamn Gaza, nigga.
Yeah.
So when people say, what do that got to do with y'all? It originally had nothing to do with us till y'all started killing us.
Y'all made it about
Now that you started killing us, you done woke up America's greatest nightmare, the educated street niggas. So now y'all want me to have some cooped about it. And I'm like, well, stop killing us first and maybe we could have a real conversation. But until y'all recognize the fact that we don't deserve to die just like the next person, I don't know how much chill I can have about it.
That's the problem with people who are progressive except for Palestine. And what Jasmin Crockett has exemplified, and I'm rooting for her, is that that's going to backfire on you. Even that type of politics even touches the roast. When you look at Shane Gillis, who I'm a fan of, people would expect me to not be a fan of his, but I am. You look at the jokes he did about Chelsea Handler. Chelsea Handler dealt with a lot of jokes about her being a whore and her sleeping with Black guys. And as a fan of comedy, I like the fact that she pushed back on some of that stuff. But the craziest thing he said was, he said Chelsea Handler's a Zionist, and he just let that hang in the air. And we're in an era where I never imagined us being this place. Every community that I rock with has a lot of people who are progressive except for Palestine. The Black community, the gay community. Chelsea Handler is from the Jewish community, and man, that's an issue. You can't be progressive on everything, but then you're not able to see what's happening in Palestine as being very, very wrong, as it being a genocide, as it being apartheid.
Yeah, it's also an issue of Pan Africanism too. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Malcolm X was a anti-Zionist, anti-imperialist representative of our people. You know what I'm saying?
Man, the internet have you believing he just hates Democrats and, you know, he's just a conservative.
Yeah, which is wild.
Every time I post about Malcolm X, some white boy posts, you know, he said that, you know, liberals, he don't like the Democrats and the liberals. You know, tell me about what the fuck Malcolm X said.
Also, a lot of what Malcolm was speaking on, we had to define as, like my elders, shout out to Jamala Rogers, shout out to Percy Green. Percy Green is a Black man who climbed the St. Louis Arch to protest.
Oh yeah, you spoke about him before.
Brothers not getting jobs down there when they were building it. He probably the greatest activist that ever lived in St. Louis, next to another brother named Ivory Perry. Ivory Perry invented started what they called it die-ins. In our generation, I hated that they called it that because who want to die in something? But where you lay down in front of the car and block it in traffic, Ivory Perry was one of the first people to start doing that. So people got to understand the way that I am is because I'm literally still, Percy is still alive, you know what I mean? Sometimes I have breakfast with this brother. He scold me about shit I do right, shit I do wrong. So I say that to say, OBS, Organization for Black Struggle.
Shout out to OBS.
They taught me that liberalism is defined as a particular thing. And a lot of what Malcolm X is speaking on is classic liberalism.
Yeah.
People are thinking, totally taking what he's talking about and misconstruing it in way, because he's not even talking about modern liberals in a particular way, because he never lived in a world with a modern liberal.
That's right.
He's talking about a very particular classic liberal or liberalism as an ideology. So that's just, to even try to take that and say he talking about Nancy Pelosi, you're wrong. That's not who he was talking about.
Did you see that roast? Did you see any of it?
I didn't watch it because, for one, when we were in LA, I was, for the Netflix is a Jokes festival, I was hearing different murmurs of things, like not really hearing no jokes or nothing, but just murmurs of things, you know, in traffic with people moving around. And I
you was with us when we saw some of them work. We saw Shane Gillis work, and I bet a lot of Black people never heard of Shane Gillis until they seen that roast, but we saw Shane Gillis working out his jokes, and then we seen Kevin Hart come on stage and work out the jokes right after with Shane. So we got it.
So, I don't know, my spirit just had the vibe that it just wasn't gonna be something I wanted to see. So I just wasn't pressing the issue on going.
Yeah.
Just off of how I was feeling with some of the stuff I was interacting with around it, I just felt like, yeah, that ain't gonna be something I wanna see, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I've been paying attention, I'm a huge fan of comedy. I know a lot about the Friars Club roast. The Friars Club roast started back in the day, and it was like old Jewish comedians got together in a private room and told jokes about each other and took each other down a notch or two. But Jeff Ross, who's the Roast Master General, he's a legacy builder in that community, in the Friars Club community. He's one of the youngest people invited into the Friars Club. So Jeff Ross is really like the king of that shit. And he talks about, formed Roast Battle at the Comedy Store in Los Angeles. You only roast those you love, is how it's supposed to be. And when the intention behind it is family and only roasting those you love, you and me could be at a family gathering at Thanksgiving and snapping at each other and playing the dozens. But if we take that and put that on Netflix, where everybody gets to comment, it becomes a different thing. We take that and put that in the arena. The arenas were invented for people to see blood. People come to the arena to see blood. Roast battle, roasting in the arenas, roasting on Comedy Central, roasting on Netflix. All of that has destroyed, for me, what the beauty of a roast can be. So I'm still a fan of the roast and of it as a thing. And I think there should be no rules in a roast. Everything is on the table. Race, sex, whatever, politics, everything. I'm no holds barred. But not everyone needs to be invited to that. And when the wrong people are invited to that, the energy shifts. Tony Hinchcliffe does not need to be at the Kevin Hart roast. He's there because he has a relationship with Netflix. He's a very successful comedian on Netflix, so he has to be up there. But he shouldn't have been there. Cheryl Underwood, Shane Gillis said he was going to ask Cheryl Underwood for permission to do the joke about her husband who was deceased. And Dave told a story about how depressed she was and how Bernie Mac had to get her out of that. I didn't know that story until I heard Dave tell that story, but that made me feel icky when I thought about the joke, because I'm a fan of Shane, and I was around him when he said, he was like, I got to ask Cheryl Underwood. And I thought he would, but Cheryl Underwood came out and said they told her that they were going to go hard, but they didn't say exactly what it was. And I got to salute Cheryl Underwood, because as a fan of jokes, I don't like Tony Hinchcliffe at all. I don't think anything he did was dope. But I like Shane's structure. Shane's jokes were good jokes, even if they were mean. You know what I'm saying? And Cheryl said the same thing. She said, she said she's not mad about the jokes because she felt like they were well-crafted jokes. And she's a comedian. However, she said, yeah, they were mean-spirited, but they were well-crafted jokes. But it's not me that you have to worry about. You have to worry about the person who's waiting for you outside who didn't agree that joke is funny. And she said, I ain't got nothing for you. If somebody outside want to get you because of the George Floyd joke or whatever, you're going to have to just deal with that. And I agree with that. And to follow up on that, what Marlon Wayans said, I think was very, very, very poignant and important. He said, you can joke about a tragedy, but if you're going to joke about something as tragic as George Floyd, the joke has to be so good, it has to be so funny that the family of George Floyd laughs. And the family of George Floyd enjoys the joke. And if the family don't enjoy it, then you failed at writing that joke. And Tony, God smote his tongue immediately because he stuttered when he said that bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Also, I don't know what white men's fascination with George Floyd is. It's kind of weird. It's like this sexual, homoerotic type thing going on where they just obsessed with this. It's like, what they call it when you just obsessed with a dead person sexually. Like, that's what it feels like at this point. Like, let it go, bro.
You know what I think it is? It's that the community, and it was Breonna Taylor and George Floyd that year. And the community rallied around these people, particularly around George Floyd, because we saw his death. We didn't see the Breonna Taylor thing, as horrible as it was, but we saw them on that man's neck for almost 9 minutes. We watched him die in real time. We watched police brutality, the highest form of police brutality, a racist police murder. We were able to all see it. And George Floyd became the name that symbolized the movement because the police murdered him in such a heinous fashion. And what white racist people don't get is that he wasn't made a martyr because he was out there doing community work. He wasn't our Martin Luther King. And they think that because we celebrate him, because he died so tragically, that somehow we're seeing him as this Christ figure or as this MLK figure. And no, what we're saying is, fuck the respectability politics. That man didn't have to be perfect. No black person has to be perfect. A perfect little angel that we all respect and agree with everything they say and do for them to deserve to live.
So that's the hat trick of the white man, right? They move the goalpost on everything. You know what I'm saying? Women don't make as much money as men because of this, and this. Black people can't do this because of this, and this. European patriarchy exists as a concept because they don't have the talent to compete without it. So they don't have the natural ability to compete without it. They don't have the moxie to walk in a room without the social advantage, without the points being up by 30, without there being a generational lead. So, like, I take pride in the fact that I know what it's like to crawl. I know what it's like to start off with nothing and end up in the same room with a motherfucker that's got everything because I had to do the work. I had to go through the process of figuring it out. These people don't know that shit, man. All they know is manipulation and constipulation. And until we start having real conversations about it, we're not even having an honest dialogue because, like, what we are describing here is you asking a man that was raised in poverty to be perfect. And it's impossible to be perfect if you was
You're
raised
asking
in
him to
poverty.
be perfect in order for him to earn the right to live.
Facts.
Which is crazy.
Facts. And you can't be perfect in poverty. Well, show me somebody that's perfect in poverty, man. You got to do something every day that's inhuman compared to other people's normal socialized living standards.
Right.
And then that's the whole, it's all connected for me personally, because this is the reason that a lot of black men don't want to vote, because until we start talking about the fact that it's actually cool to go on TV and talk about this man being dead for comedy's sake, for the sake of comedic pleasure. And then we at large also talk about how, like, for most marginalized black people, they don't feel safe in society. Nigga, I don't feel safe in society. I can turn on Netflix and it's a whole fucking white boy talking about how it's okay to kill niggas.
You know, it's crazy for
I don't understand the world.
Like, as a black American, or a black person born in America, to be more accurate, the craziest thing in the world is that I get to a town that has all American flags, well, I feel very unsafe.
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel like
Automatic.
I'm not welcome.
That's your cue to get the hell out of there.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you start seeing those American flags too many places, man, you in a whole situation.
But
boy.
then they want you to be proud to be an American. They want you to be patriotic. Samuel Johnson said, patriotism is the last refuge of a scoundrel. That's one of the most important quotes I've ever heard.
They always been on some crooked shit, man. Them indigenous folks saw them boats coming. They said, oh, damn, the niggas coming, go grab the spears. Them niggas got off the boat with gunpowder. They always been cheating. They never gave you a fair fight. They never gave you a...
And then they're proud of it. They're proud of being colonizers and imperialists. Like, they look at that like manifest destiny. Like, of course we won. Like, that's not something to be proud of at all.
I think also... You know, I talk about how you could be in a relationship with somebody and be sharing a different version of reality than they are sometimes. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what our relationship with the white populace is. Mm-hmm. Like, we've reached the point in the discourse where we can no longer assume that just as Black people, we are having the same experience. Like, sure, we are going through some mutual experiences, but I can't say overall that there's a blanketed Black experience. Sure, there are things that are macro and micro within the experience, but where we are now, people's politics are being so determined by class, access, availability, positionality, and personal power that we have become somewhat victimized by the capitalist project in ways that our ancestors and forefathers told us. They said, yo, if y'all don't slow down on the consumerism, if y'all don't slow down on the sexism, if y'all don't slow down on the misogyny, it's gonna be y'all job in future generations to have a critical analysis around this. And I can't fully say we exist in a generation where the thought creators and the thinkers and even the so-called revolutionists have even really remixed the remix. Like, we still in a position where reading Fanon makes sense and shit, because niggas ain't really moved the dial that much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and we're too willing to forgive and forget, and we're too willing to follow grifters down a path of irrelevance. Like, I'm watching Candace Owens try to rebrand herself in the same way that Marjorie Taylor Greene tried to rebrand herself. MAGA, these MAGA motherfuckers, they hate women. You know what I'm saying? So Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Candace Owens, those are the first ones that are going to get like persecuted in that movement.
That's always the women in the
MAGA but she's on the apology tour, and she's uncovering conspiracies about Charlie Kirk. And that's another thing, not to go back to the George Floyd thing too much, but they think that we think that George Floyd is Martin Luther King because they think Charlie Kirk is Martin Luther King.
Well, they think Charlie Kirk is Martin Luther King because when you live in a white man, what Tupac called is in this white man's world. In this white man's world, Charlie Kirk is Martin Luther King. He represents everything that they are willing to die on the cross about. That's who they are. Like, I'm not finna start, I can't reimagine white supremacy for you. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is, right? And we all on the prison planet, like I said before. So I just so happen to be banging the black card. You banging the white one. Let's go ahead and have this goddamn fight and see how it ends, my nigga. But I'm not finna goddamn reassociate your image and do all of that. I'm clear on who the fuck you been for a couple millennia at this point. So yeah, that's when you see white people saying crazy shit like that, that's because whiteness as a social construct validates that shit. Period. It ain't nothing to really think about. You know what I'm saying? Like, they believe that shit, man. So
yeah, people are very confused about the Charlie Kirk thing, and people celebrated him because he died tragically. But I want to read some of these.
I think it might have been an inside job.
Oh, that's Nazi on Nazi violence, man. We got to stop this Nazi on Nazi violence, man. It's really a problem in this country.
I don't like to speculate publicly, like you said. I stole that from you.
Yeah,
but it's looking like y'all killed your own boy.
Oh yeah, I mean that guy was a graper or some. Listen, okay, here's some Charlie Kirk quotes on race. If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. If you're in the WNBA, If you're a WNBA pot-smoking black lesbian, do you get treated better than a United States Marine? Happening all the time in urban America, prowling blacks go around for fun to target white people. That's a fact. It's happening more and more. If I'm dealing with someone in customer service who's a moronic black woman, I wonder if she's there because of her excellence or is she there because of affirmative action? Okay. If we would have said that Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called racist. Now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken seriously. Wow. Wow. On gender and feminism and reproductive rights, reject feminism. Submit to your husband. You are not in charge. Oh, he said, submit to your husband, Taylor. You are not, he's talking to Taylor Swift.
What do you got to do with that lady business?
Hey, man. We need to have a Nuremberg-style trial for every gender-affirming clinic doctor. We need it immediately. Wow. On gun violence, I think it's worth it to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational. That's a hell of a thing to say right before you get shot.
Yeah, bro.
And I'm not anti-gun at all, but I am pro-karma, and that's, woo. On immigration, America was at its peak when we halted immigration for 40 years and we dropped our foreign-born percentage to its lowest level ever. We shouldn't be afraid to do that. The American Democrat Party hates this country. They want to see it collapse. They love it when America becomes less white. The Great Replacement Strategy, which is well underway every single day in our southern border, is a strategy to replace white rural America with something different. Google the Great Replacement Strategy, the Great Replacement Theory. It's a Nazi concept. This man is a Nazi. On Islam, America has freedom of religion. Of course, we should be frank. Large, dedicated Islamic areas are a threat to America. Islam is the sword of the left. Islam is the sword the left is using to slit the throat of America. Jesus. You were about to say something about gun rights?
Well, all the white man laws is fucked up, right? Like, there is no, American law that constitutes your rights that's really, like, existing for the sake of your total benefit. So, like, sure, we got public education, but it sucks. Sure, you can smoke weed so long as we can regulate it and put chemicals in the shit. So now, niggas is acting like with these gun laws that these motherfuckers don't got some crazy-ass angle to depopulate the minority race and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm not saying that I'm anti-gun because I own guns, right? But I also live in a city where owning a gun is mandatory because it's open carry.
Yeah.
So all you need is an ID to go buy whatever the fuck you want. And people walking around with crazy shit, driving around with crazy shit, going through manic depression and losing their jobs and psycho men out there ain't touched a woman in who knows how long. So they want to go shoot one in the face. It's like
incel behavior.
You have armed a society that was not stable to begin with, and then I'm supposed to, as an intelligent person, allow you to rest your case for giving all these niggas whatever artillery they want based upon your righteous intent, which you never had to begin with. It's just a fucked up situation.
Yeah, the idea that the oppressor does anything out of the kindness of his heart or righteous intent.
It's like when Master come out to the outhouse and say, all right, y'all can eat today, but when you go in there and eat, it's chitlins, they a week old. We eating, it's food. You can eat whenever you want, but should you be eating it?
But I started this part of the conversation, talking about Candace Owens' apology tour, right? And Candace Owens, called George Floyd a thug and then started a GoFundMe campaign for a business owner who lost his business after calling George Floyd a thug. And Candace Owens was supportive of white nationalism. And she's supportive of the way that Hitler moved around the world. Her and Kanye had the White Lives Matter t-shirt. She has said and done a lot of hateful things. But then she gets up there and she apologizes to a rich white man, Hunter Biden, for calling him a crackhead.
Yeah, what was that about?
And she apologized. She said she felt shitty. She said she felt like indoctrinated from the right. But here's Look, I'm all for apologies. I've said before, apologies.
And wasn't he really smoking crack?
Well, tabling the fact that he actually was doing said things, you know what I'm saying? So many people in our community were willing to, oh, she's changed. She's flipped over a new leaf and you being too hard on her, Talib, because look, that's not no real change. Her apologizing to a white man, and when she apologized to him, in her apology, she talked about how white people in the comments will call someone the N-word and then will hold it against him for the rest of their life. So in her apology to a white man for calling him a crackhead, she defended white people calling us the N-word.
Of course she did.
That's not an actual apology, bro. That's not something that we should be like lauding her for. You know what I'm saying? That's not actual atonement. And that's just crazy how people are so willing, because she is an attractive media personality. They're so willing to be like, oh yeah, let's welcome Candace Owens back. Man, fuck Candace Owens, man.
Man, people like her, agents, you know what I'm saying? Whether we can...
Willing or not.
Exactly.
Whether they're actual, paid agents.
You don't gotta be willing to be an agent. That's the crazy part.
No, you could be an unwilling agent.
Yeah.
You could be an unwilling or unsuspecting agent. Yeah. It's better.
She's just the most dangerous type because, that's what white supremacy is currently doing. It's like when Genghis Khan used to conquer a village, he would sometimes take the children from rival races and cultures and make them his children.
Yeah.
So
Thanos did that too. Yeah, but it's also white supremacy is on its last legs, and it only exists, it's only powerful because of accomplices of color. White people are a global minority on this planet. If all black people, this is never gonna happen in my lifetime, if all black people stop supporting the white supremacist structure, it would collapse on itself.
Well, Michelle Obama had a good quote that I recently did like, and people going wild. There's some people going wild on me in the comments on this episode. They be like, "God damn, that nigga said this about liberalism, man. He's saying something about Michelle."
Hey man, we are nuanced people, man.
But hold on. So
many things can be true at the same time.
No, Michelle Obama she did say something I respected.
And I respect Michelle Obama.
And I think a lot of times she has the most crystal clear left political analysis.
Michelle Obama said, when they go low, we go high. And everyone thought that they would talk about, she was talking about them. She was talking about her. You know what I'm saying? Michelle Obama, you stay high. The rest of y'all niggas, get low.
Yeah, but if I was a Democrat, a for real Democrat, then, I would probably be a lot in alignment with her, but I'm not. So sometimes I don't be agreeing. But she said, basically, you can't just broad stroke all these people as racist. And
I heard her say that.
And people got in an uproar about it.
I think there's some nuance to what she was saying.
I do too.
And I understand the point she was making, but I don't think she worded it properly.
I totally understand it because a lot of those people getting in an uproar about it, you haven't been in a Uber in Kansas.
Yeah.
And the person driving the Uber is pro-MAGA.
Yeah.
Right? They are indoctrinated by Donald Trump, right? But they might have a goddamn multiracial child, right? So
Joe Rogan got a black daughter.
Some of this, what we're experiencing is this country intentionally creating generations upon generations upon generations of stupid people. And we assume that people, just because they're involved in the popular discourse, have read a book before in life. Some people ain't even read, they don't even read a daily news blog, let alone an entire book. It's niggas giving whole political dissertations on the internet every day, never even read a fucking chapter in a book.
Tell it, speak on it.
So that's what we're greatly experiencing right now. The underclass is searching for something, like she said, and they're trying to make the position that they're in make sense. So even if I'm white, right, and I see this all the time, because I was one of the first rappers in my community that went into Southern Illinois and brought white boys across the bridge to rap with us. And niggas was like, Tef, why you got all them white boys on stage? Because I was able to talk to niggas according to a class line. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'm able to identify a symmetry within the experience of you go through this, I go through this. You live like this, I live like this. This is what this is. This is what this is. And you got to think, I'm on stage saying the wildest shit with some white boys with me that's with it. You know what I'm saying? So I understood what she was saying because I know those types of people where if a person like you or a person like me don't get in front of them, then the next person will get in front of them,
Yeah.
and that becomes where they get indoctrinated.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not the old days where hip hop was used to wake people up no more. So even in the pieces of hip hop that they picking up, a lot of the rappers that they listening to, they signed to Republicans. They got a Republican adjacency.
Yeah.
They got Zionist adjacency. And this is a lot of the shit we don't unearth in hip hop, right? So of course you got 99 songs talking about who the baddest bitch is, because all the bad bitches is signed to some type of Zionist entity at the end of the day,
Yeah.
right? You know what I'm saying? We don't want to have no real conversations about this shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's an intentional, and there's nothing wrong with like certain shit existing because you need a balanced society.
That's right.
But what I'm trying to say is like, we getting to the point where the bottleneck is so slim that you can't assume none of this shit is organic.
Yeah, agreed, man. These are great points. I love having these conversations with you. Your analysis is always so much on point, brother.
I try, man.
Yeah, man. Before we get out of here, I've enjoyed this conversation, but can't get out of here without sharing some of my feelings about what's going on with Ray J. I gotta talk about it because it's something that is, Ray J is very important to our culture. There was a time in Black culture, particularly people in the West Coast, where it was like, no Ray J slander shall be tolerated. And apparently we are past that time.
Yeah, man. I remember Ray J used to be well, I ain't gonna say used to be. Ray J was what you wanted to be. He was young, he had the money, he was bossed up, he was like if you knew, people outside the industry don't know that though. Ray J was the dude on the West Coast, like like the man on the West Coast. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of shit went directly through Ray J.
That's right.
When you went out west, you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So it's wild to see the shit go down like this.
For me, it's even crazier because Deshaun Raw, Super Hot Fire, him and his crew came over my crib back in the day to talk about doing a sketch with me, a skit. We never got it off the ground, but I like that movement. I like what them young dudes was doing. And my ex used to DJ for Ray J. If you see that video, wait a minute, my ex-wife is in that video DJing. So I used to be around Ray J a lot. And I would have never imagined some 15, 20, however long it was, years later, that I would see this. And as entertaining as the whole thing is, and with respect to Ray J taking the L that he took, it's very entertaining. But I hate the fact that it's all done to line the pockets of someone like Aiden Ross.
Yeah.
That part of it feels...
I got something I want to ask you. I know we talking about Ray J. I've been Aiden Ross with streams before I was Aiden Ross with streams.
Let's get into that after the Ray J thing. But yeah, that's part of it, right? The whole Kendrick analysis about Drake being a culture vulture. He's not doing himself any favors by aligning with someone like Aiden Ross. That's a well-written bar. As a writer, I'm like, that's a good bar.
Somebody brought out a good point on the internet. I don't know who it was. I forgot. I've been watching a lot of different takes on the whole Iceman and MAGA adjacency. And somebody said, yo, you ain't gonna see him come out and disown the White House for putting the MAGA shit on his album cover, because behind the scenes, that's most likely a part of the fucking rollout.
But the whole, like, two Black dudes who are not fighters, fighting to make money for Aiden Ross, I didn't like that.
It's disgusting.
I didn't like that at all. It felt like...
it's the new Sambo era, dog.
It felt like that James Brown movie. You ever seen the James Brown movie? And with Chadwick, and they were blindfolding the kids and making them fight for the old white people. And that's what that felt like, because neither one of them were skilled in that arena. So it felt like they might as well have blindfolds on.
A prison in St. Louis got shut down for that. The workhouse, they used to call it, because they used to have them boys in there buck fighting, like take them out of jail and make them fight each other. And sometimes they'll make them fight to the death. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's what it gave me. That's what it was given. And I'll say this. Deshaun Raw is very talented. He has a comedic... That press conference when he was trolling Ray J, security, security. That's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. It was hilarious. I don't like that it was at another Black man's expense, but it was hilarious. just Deshaun has a lot of talent. Ray J
Deshaun is dope.
has a lot of talent.
Yeah.
Ray J is an actor. He can rap, he can sing. Ray J adds a lot of beauty to the world. But when you stop trading on the beauty that you add to the world, and you start trading on nothing but your fame, you end up lining Aiden Ross pockets. You end up looking goofy. You end up I'm saying this to encourage artists, never lean into that fame thing. Because you don't want your only commodity to be your famous name.
I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. For me right now, it's tough being a black man because I personally don't want to see shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that my mind should be subjected to every day I wake up, I just gotta see total bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't see niggas doing nothing that stimulates me, inspires me, motivates me. And I used to get that from black men in the public discourse. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, this is some innovative shit they doing. Or damn, that's crazy creative. Or
these two men in particular, Deshaun and Ray J, I've gotten that from them.
So it's hard, you know what I'm saying? And even as a person that's a creative, sometimes I go to create and I'm saying like, what am I actually drawing from if everything out there is just total bullshit, right? Because now it's putting me in a position where, as a person that makes a slightly more sophisticated sense of art, I gotta figure out how to communicate with niggas that's way back in the Stone Age on shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we've reached that point now where even as a skilled MC, you really gotta think about the goddamn audience in a way that you never had to think about before, because we are intentionally not producing a smart consumer, a smart listener. We are teaching people to not even give a fuck about smart shit in the conversation in general. So that's really how you get Ray J being Ray J, who you could have said, damn, he was a songwriter, he was a producer. Now he just turned into smut TV Ray J. You know what I mean? Like, straight bullshit, 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 bullshit. And don't nobody want to say it because everybody's scared of being blackballed. Everybody's scared of not being included. Everybody's scared of looking like the nigga that don't want to make no money. Everybody's scared of looking like a real person. In this whole situation, everybody want to be plugged into the matrix however they can. So we're literally on the Titanic. The shit is sinking. Some niggas is off the boats in the life rafts watching this motherfucker go down, but it's a lot of you niggas that's finna sink with the ship.
That's right. Man, Tef, thank you once again for that beautiful analysis. And I want to end this episode by saying we spent a lot of time in this episode talking about black people. We talked about Jasmin Crockett. We talked about Candace Owens. We talked about Ray J. But this is said with revolutionary love. We are not saying this because we are calling these people out. We are saying this because we are calling these people in, and we love these people, and we want these people to do better at life. So, you know what I'm saying? In the spirit of revolutionary love.
I don't want no smoke. And let me say this.
He don't want
let
no
me say this in real life. I'm not perfect either. So it's not like I'm approaching this shit with like this crystallized version of myself that's trying to fake Martin Luther King or fake Malcolm X or fake Tupac or fake Ice Cube or fake Farrakhan or whoever the next nigga you want to insert. So that's not what I'm on. I'm a person that's still in a working class position. I got to think about things that other people don't got to think about. And I got nieces and nephews and people in my family coming up in a world where they don't have the time to be as informed about these things as I do. So I take the responsibility of that mantle for my family and my community in a way that I just can't drop the ball on. And it's not like I'm putting pressure on myself to be this big, bad revolutionary. It's just that for me, that's the utility of a man. Are you reading? Are you staying informed? Are you taking care of your body? Can you fucking be there when it's time for a nigga to be there? You know what I mean? Don't none of that shit matter until they come knocking on the door. They knocking on the door now. So I'm responding how I gotta respond, not that my door is being knocked.
That's right. That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Talib Kweli
Tef Poe, man.
Let me ask you this. We'll be back next week. One last season.